The front-facing camera on my phone isn't the best, but this is basically what it looks like outside. I'll turn it around, and you should see. Now that, interestingly, looks bluer in the camera than it looks to my eyes here. The first one was a little bit closer to what it feels like today. Just overcast. Hi, my name is Rob. Hello again. I'm an artist who won't give up. I won't give up even though I don't like life where I live. I was just invited to, by two different friends today, invited to go out into the world, and I chose not to. I don't have much energy, and I don't want to face the people who live where I live. So I'm going to make a meal that I have all the ingredients for, and I need to make. And if I don't make a meal, then I'm not going to have food. So, and somebody, some former version of me wrote, "Trust the process." And because that's so vague to me, I added order of operations. Because I have to know what the process is. And the way for me to know it is the order of operations. And the first thing is, if I'm going to be doing a stream, I like it when I wear my headphones. But first, even there's a pre-first, this always happens, ADHD. I'm going to put the camera down. So out comes the tripod. And oh, interesting. Sorry. I meant to hold the phone the other way, but we're doing it now. With the holder that I have when the camera is in it, the microphone is muffled. Great design. I'm going to go to the, I'm going to hook you up to power. And then I'm going to go in the other room to do a sound check. And I might double check the recipe. I'm having one of those days, I have been having all morning, one of those days when I can't warm up. And I'm just now feeling warmer. Um, some of that is circulation because I'm inactive. I'm taking off my jersey. Probably that made some weird noise. Okay, let's try Twitch. I call my channel Humanism. It's my brand of humanism. I call my channel Humanism. Hey there. It's my brand of humanism centered on unconditional love of all humans, no shame. Uh, uh, while I'm at the laptop, I can do some things. I'm uh, thinking about I am thinking about looking up the video for this recipe I'm going to make or just going on memory. We'll start with memory. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Yeah. So I don't feel up to what I'm doing. I don't feel up to anything. So the thing about trusting the process, the order of operations, is that at the end of it, I should have a meal. I will have a meal. Because I'm not organized, process of cooking for me involves like um, people who are struggling like me. Everything has extra steps, additional steps. Um, I don't have a clear counter in the kitchen, and also I'm feeling down, so I want to be out here in the sunlight. You know, people who renovate their kitchens to be more open. In the old days, the kitchens were hidden away. Um, this condo was built in the old days. I wish I had the uh, ballsiness to tell a friend to bring wine and come eat with me. But instead, I have the fear that need to eat, I need to save all the food that I make for myself so that it'll give me 3 or 4 meals. Um, this is like 2 months of mail. Oh, I hope my car insurance hasn't expired. I should probably look into that. But not right now. I gotta make a meal. I um I buy my I mean the way my insurance I buy through a local agent because I think well at one time that meant they would contact you and not let your insurance lapse, but they're pretty shitty actually. And the relationship is with a big company, and the local agent doesn't do much except, I guess, collect a commission. Okay, step one. Everything's step one. I do that too. I make like I have so many video series with an episode one. I'm gonna move this further to the sun if there's room. There's so many extra steps uh, for an ADHD person because there's not even room uh, to walk in my house. I've got more than ADHD. I've got this debilitating chronic pain. I don't know if I want this right. This it's a sign that says art something. Yep. Absolutely no reason for me to have that. Oh, I think it's a One Spark venue. I I created One Spark was a festival in my city, my town that was exciting briefly. Uh, I created a competing fair that I called One Spork. I was the only entrant, and I won every year. One time, I think it was on Instagram, maybe Facebook. People on Facebook are not very bright, right? Um, and I said I was the creator of One Spork, and someone replied that, or I said, I don't know, that was amazing. You know, someone complimented me on my ability. I mean, they definitely thought I was talking about the real fair. Step one, I'm just going to call everything step one. Step one is to find potatoes. Oh, yeah, here they are. Yep, these are the ones I want. On Twitch, they say the longer your streams are, the more likely you are to get viewers. So I might as well take forever, huh? This is the bowl I eventually want to use. And talking about not being prepared, it's of course filled with other things. Where am I going to dump those things? dump them into here, which is more appropriate because this bowl is terrible for everything. So it may as well be a storage of junk. Now this one's discolored with like hard water, but it's clean. It just has dust from, I mean, it's clean. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna clean potatoes. I'm using yellow potato. Am I gonna use all these? No, I'll use about half the bag. Um, how am I gonna clean the potatoes out here? Oh, well, while they're dirty, they could just go on the board. That's about half the bag. I'll do one more because I may not feel well enough to make. I mean, the rest of these might rot. Who knows? And all I don't. I can't guarantee tomorrow. In some ways, I think I have a less of a hard time dealing with the atrocities going on in the United States because I already uh, stopped believing in everything, but definitely this country. Not everything, this country. I'm gonna put these potatoes. I don't think plastic bags are good for potatoes. Something tells me they're not. So you can't see me, but I'm putting them into a a bin in the dark with ventilation holes. It's the big strainer that comes like in my stock pot that I never use. So that's that. Uh, I'm trying to cook because if I don't, I'll just end up eating yogurt for the third meal in a row. I put olive oil and spices and dip bread into my yogurt. It's yummy. Uh, I'm going to wash these potatoes. I don't imagine that they're too dirty. I probably don't really need to wash them at all. What am I gonna do? This cloth is clean from the laundry despite being discolored. I guess that means it's not cleaned, it's just permanently dirty. Doesn't seem to. Uh, I know, I don't know if the angle is good or the distance is good or the lighting is good. I don't know what I'm doing. This isn't really a cooking show. It's a mental health documentary. That's what all my content is, including my art. Always has been. The next step is I'm either gonna get a cutting board or just cut on this wood, but I probably like it better if I get a cutting board. And then cut some of these in half, and then I'm going to put them all in a pot to boil on the stove with salted water. Um, start it off at like medium high, and then when it starts simmering, I'll turn it down to medium low, and then I will stop cooking them. I'm only parboiling. I think that just means part or half. I don't want to fully cook them because they're going to end up being cooked in the oven with chicken. I mentioned I don't feel well. You might have noticed I do this thing, which is I've noticed recently that it is putting pressure on the part of me that hurts a lot. I've probably been doing some version of that nervous swaying my whole life. I'm going to go ahead and clean out the big bowl while I'm in here. Just rinse it because it's going to be used in the next stage, step one. And do I have a clean pot? I think I do. It's so clean, I think I put it away and I don't know where it is. Or maybe it's in the. No, it's dirty in the sink, of course. Okay. What did I make in it? Oh, yeah. Mac and cheese. Okay, well, step one is clean your cookware before using it. That won't take too long because this pot is stainless steel and cleans very easily. No, I'm swaying back and forth, putting pressure on. I mean, maybe I think it's relieving pressure. I don't know why I do the things I do. In general, I feel that I just stand wrong like this instead of this. Like I need to float, but instead I'm grinding my troubles into my fine. I do wish I were drinking. I don't have wine. I used to get box wine. I thought I was economizing last year or the year before or whatever it was when I would get box wine and stuff, but now I'm really economizing. That's why I know that I'm heading towards moving. Uh, I've been contemplating, and some people have told me, not to make a rash decision uh, because of pressure. But this decision was actually made 10 years ago when I was, well, it was made when I made the choice of my partner, my uh, unofficial marriage that lasted 7 point, I don't know, 2 years. Um, why did I say point two? No, it was 7.6 years. If it was point two, I probably wouldn't care. It's just that it was more than 7.5. Okay, to breathe. Uh, this step is all the cooking shows always say, use more salt than you think you need to. What size potatoes do I want? There's really no right answer. And if you have a variety, they'll turn out in a variety of ways. And that's good. You're not a restaurant. You're an experimenter. Last time I had quit swaying. Last time I had small, like fingerling or some kind of boutique potatoes, and I put them all in whole. And I felt, I mean, they were good. Actually, last time there were two things I thought I did wrong with the potatoes. One, I think by not being cut, I quit swaying. I think they were like less crispy because of the edges. And then I think I overcooked them, which is a risk I might run again because of how poorly I'm doing. They're supposed to be going while the next step happens, but I don't do good. Well, I might need to bring you in here. Oh, this place is such a mess. I don't want to make this. It's not that hard. What's hard is living in this mess because of a lot of other things. Oh, like I was saying about my having to move. It's not a rash decision. It was made 10 years ago when, or not 10 years ago. Well, it was set in motion. When did I start dating that weirdo? That was like 22 years ago. No, it was 21.6 years ago. And sometime during the 7.6 years that we were together, I used to just, I hate money, and I had him make decisions for me, and a loan was taken out on this place that's coming due. So the decision to move out was made then. It's a decision, you know. Well, I mean, at the time I was supposed to be rich, but that hasn't happened. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the heat on the potatoes on 7.2, and I'm gonna get the parsley out. Oh, I just noticed I haven't opened cola. I don't have bourbon or rum though. Drink a vodka and Coke. I'm drinking tea. Uh, Parsley, like, in theory, should be rinsed. I felt it. There's no sand. Yeah, I mean, you know, people with the plague have coughed on it in the grocery store, and but it's gonna be cooked for a long time. Well, actually, some of it won't be cooked at all, but I think I can live. A lot of times when I cut parsley small, I use scissors because it's easy, but this is so much parsley, I think I need to use the big knife. This is becoming the uh, me talking about my ex hour, but this is one of the quit swaying. This is one of the good things that he. God, I was about to say bought with my money. This actually preceded that. He got this with his own money. But when someone makes off with so much of your money. Okay. I said I didn't like money, so that's where, you know, if you don't like money and you let money lovers, this is actually that's inefficient. I should let the stems go to the right, and I should have the handle over there. Another opportunity for me to talk about the anal retentive chef, the Phil Hartman character. Da, 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 da. See, I'm doing it again. Stop it. Why does that feel natural? So, some people say the stems are too bitter. Uh, I think of it more about the texture. Um, Cilantro, they say, go ahead and use the stems. The flavor's the same. I think the flavor and the texture go together. Like when it's hard, it's bitter. When it's supple, it's yummy. You can read into that. But I think this dish, the finished dish, is going to have um, chicken, bone on, skin on, bone on, bone in, skin on. Maybe the scissors would help. One of the purposes of using a knife is uh, frustration exercise. I could use my fingers, might be faster, and just feel, oh, that's too stiff. That's not. That is. Anybody watching the new White Lotus? Part of me wants to save it to watch my boyfriend, but part of me is afraid I won't get to see my boyfriend, or I just don't know when that's going to happen based on how I feel. Okay. If I had one of these things, that could be fun. My ex-roommate had one. She left a lot of things, but she didn't leave that. Music would help, but Bezos won't let me. Bezos owns this network, by the way. I wish I were drinking. I wish I had a bigger cutting board. I could just cut on the wood. That's what this was made for before it became a crafts table. Like I haven't eaten paint before. Like this cutting board isn't putting plastic into my body. This is great parsley. Oh, I should have paid attention. I'm not sure which came from Walmart and which came from Publix. I feel like this is the Publix one and it's less great and costs more. I always hated Walmart for ruining America, but it's not like there's any good company left. They say Publix gets ranked as a good company to work for, but the money goes to right-wing lunatics, just like at the top of most companies. Don't know why. See, the left in the U.S. is afraid to be too leftist, which is like socialist, communist, anarchist, what have you. But that fear prevents them from recognizing their enemies and working on actually making people's lives better. So when Democrats are in power, they do all sorts of things that help the rich get richer. They might tax them more, which I mean, they might not, but sometimes they do, which helps. But they'll do all sorts of loosen regulations, look the other way. I mean, we were just starting to get a little bit more serious in the past few years, but that was before the whites of America rose up and said, we want to destroy everything rather than share it. Okay, this looks pretty good. They can get smaller, why not? I don't like the way this, oh, I put on active noise canceling. No, that's weird. The first setting was the best. I think the setting that I like on these is basically the off setting. The sound is muffled just by wearing these things. There's also a pass-through setting, which attempts to see that's soft. I love parsley. I really love chervil. I'm planning to move to Mexico, but I'd probably rather live in Provence or something, but expensive. What's the next step? I'm going to put parsley, lemon, garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper in this bowl. And then I'm going to take half of it out to save for later, or I could put it in a different bowl and take half of it. Uh, I have to go look at the potatoes. Okay, it's simmering away, so I turned it down to medium low. I'm definitely afraid of overcooking them. I think I'm not going to have time to double check the recipe, but what difference does it make? I know what I'm making is good. One of the questions I have is, so I bought a lot more parsley this time. Do I use it all? I see yes. Oh yeah, this is the cutting board that turns green when I, that's going to be frustrating later. I have different flat cutting boards that, this one, since I'm in a hurry, why don't we just do that? And so what if I lose a few? Oh, because it's not accurate to do that. Here I go again. I'm going across whatever side I cut the thing off on should be the side that it goes to. Quit swaying. Crazy person cooks for you. Quit swaying. Stand tall. I have beer. I think I should drink a beer. It might be frozen because it's in my fridge that freezes things. I'm turning the potatoes off. I bought these beers last summer when I was alone staying at my boyfriend's apartment, and I thought, it's summer and I like beer. And now here it is, 6/10 of a year later. Oh, it does taste good right now. Um, I drink a lot less than I used to. Um, Now I associate my past drinking with, trying Trying to just alter my trying to numb an unhappiness. That doesn't mean so, so now I don't numb the unhappiness. Um, I guess that makes me more unhappy. I just feel like I'm processing reality more, which ironically, oh, 2 in 1 day. Um, a percentage of people drive like maniacs, and when it happened earlier today, I didn't even look up from what I was reading, and I imagined somebody being with me going, "Ah, what was that?" And me saying, "Oh, it happens several times a month, so I don't learn to anyway, not be shocked." So of course I was asking myself, is it several times a month? What? And then twice in 1 day really ups the average. So like I look at that as a sign of unhappiness. I'm like, oh, someone is getting out their testosterone by driving like a maniac, revving up their motor, disturbing the neighborhood. I also look at it as a sign of unhappiness because a more in touch society would not allow individuals to. I mean, there would be a lot less individual car ownership, period, but definitely it wouldn't be that loud ever. You probably didn't hear it, but I'm saying all this because you might have heard it. It was so loud you might have heard the whatever. I'm tired. Breathe, stretch, take a break, take a drink, stretch, look at the beautiful world. Mm, there is ice in this beer. My external thermometer says it's 63 Fahrenheit. If that thermometer has Celsius, it's too small to see from here. But my guess would be, well, I'm cheating. I think I saw earlier that the high was 17. Oh, I think somewhere it says 61 is 16. Can look that up. And I really wish that thing would stop squeaking. That's the price you pay for having wheels and not having someone smart enough to oil them. So in my better world, there would be lots of handy people just kind of like dispatched all around. You could just call, these are the various issues around your house. There would be places you could take broken appliances, broken machines, and people would fix them either for you or to pass them on to someone who needs them. There would be lots of sort of like libraries of things that you could go and um, So something expensive like a stand mixer might take up space in a kitchen and be used 6 times a year, maybe less. It's absolutely unnecessary to own it. And I suppose like a typical individualistic thing to say might be, but I want to be able to use it when I want to, which is where door-to-door delivery comes in. You could just ask for something and have it within a reasonable amount of time. Now, why would all these things exist? Because people want to have it. People want to live that way. Like somebody's job could be just doing deliveries a few hours a week. There would be lots of jobs that people would do for, you know, part of a day. And when it comes to like tinkering and fixing things, there are a lot of people who enjoy that. It's just that currently it's not profitable. It's more makes more sense to throw things away and buy new that you know someone exploited has made, and it's used a bunch of petroleum to get here. I mean, basically the way that things make sense now is the way that enriches the already rich. The way that things would work in my ideal society is that people would have a lot of free time. And part of that free time would be used thinking of ways to make society better. Nowadays, like we don't even have the ability to have an informed electorate. And everybody in my better world. I'm writing a sci-fi story in my head so far, but it'll get on paper eventually. Everybody in my better world would have a like a career counselor and a health counselor. And these are people who would be, not related to you, so it's not so personal. And just people who are caring and knowledgeable, and they would help get you the health care that you need, and they would help uh, steer you into rewarding productive activities. Making a living wouldn't matter because everyone would be sufficiently, there would be a baseline below which nobody lived. All of this would be possible because it would be understood that money is meaningless. And I want a good portion of my books to be about the way to get from here to there. Big lemon cut into thirds. The last time I did this, I squeezed it through still really big, a sieve, because I hate seeds, but this is going into a dish with chicken with bones, and let's see, I'll flip it over just in case there's juice I missed. Um, I mean, there are going to be parts of this meal that are inedible, so if seeds get in it, that's okay. So I'm just going from memory. I think I was about to say I should have pulled out the chicken so it'd be getting to room temp, but then some people say that's meaningless. Um, this one has a different purpose. I'm going to use my kosher salt, which I'm running out of. I'll be right back with potatoes and chicken. Stand up straight. Oh, looking back, I'm a big fan of like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. I watched the very first episode of Sesame Street, and um, it really is radical. Yeah, it's really radical to see um, that how black uh, it is. um, yeah, um, I mean, I've heard or seen or read or something that it really was designed for like city kids who might have fewer resources, fewer opportunities outside of the TV box. So, yeah, it was a nicer world than what's going on now. In terms of, so I was talking about alcohol. I was talking about um, muting sadness versus feeling it. So feeling it, it's tough, you know. I'm having a tough time in life, but I think that like white people I know, even progressives, you know, they might feel certain values, but their number one concern in life is fun. Um, and it's easy to think, well, you know, we want to. I've got this new idea, this new trick for garlic, where if I cut off that end, yeah, that takes all of the skin with me. It's easier than the old way I was doing it. Let's try it again with this one. So this end, you know, it's like on an onion. One end is where the root was, and the other end is kind of loose. So if I cut, I'm not going to eat that part anyway. So if I cut that, then it's easier to take the skin off because the skin is attached to that. And then after the skin is off, crush it. Well, I'm not crushing them yet, but I'm not going to have skins all over my cutting board. So, but yeah, I think a real problem with what's going on in the US is the numbing that is considered necessary to get by. So, um, as long as, you know, so like as long as white people have nice things and nice vacations, then no matter how bad it is, it's like, well, I guess that's the meaning of life, just having fun. And then there's no push for improvement. And then there's me, and I just think it's just absolutely unacceptable to go on this way for centuries. And so when I hang out with sort of normal, my former peers, I just, I'm kind of screaming on the inside. And plus, it just bores me. Uh, but I've already been a lot of nice places. Um, I guess, I mean, the difference is, yeah, like why do things? Is it just to numb the pain, or is it to learn? And I like learning. So when I go to places and I have a great time, I think this is better than the way my country is organized. I remember when I was a kid, I had my tonsils taken out. I think I was 4 or 5. And believe it or not, I mean, this shows, you know, how early my who I am began to take its shape. I remember thinking that that was the most relaxed. Being put under was the best sleep, even though I did have a nightmare. Um, but what I'm getting at is escapism. I wanted escapism, and I chased it for, you know, decades. Maybe my art is escapism. All right, what am I going to do now? Salt and pepper. Mix this up. Oh, I was going to use the kosher salt. Put the chicken and the potatoes in it. I'll pull the chicken out. Now I look at it like escapism or numbing is good if you're using it medicinally. Like I want to numb my pain because like I want to be able to do things and I can't do anything when I'm frozen. So like I really wish you got to pair uh, escape, numbing with times when you're functioning. And I think like the majority of people, I shut up, Rob. What did you come in here for? Olive oil, chicken. And I think the majority of people are numbing themselves so that they can make it through their jobs. And that's the culture, working for the weekend or whatever. Work hard, play hard. So, their off time is filled with a lot of numbing, and their on time is doing work that makes the world worse because just about every job is um, maintaining the status quo, funneling money to the rich. This might be a mess. But I think if I do this, wash the towel. I think this is okay. There's something else I thought of that I need. Pepper. Should I reheat the oven? Yep. Yeah. So I would say, like all these things that I think about that are in my mind a lot are the reasons that I have all this dysfunction. I have a hard time. It's like, what am I functioning for? Pepper? Um, I need, what am I gonna stir up all that stuff with? How about a wooden spoon? That's pretty satisfying. And I guess the answer, what am I functioning for, is supposed to just be personal happiness. friends we met along the way. There's supposed to be oil in this. Probably too much. I upsized the recipe, so. Oh, and I need a strainer spoon. One of the cooking shows I watch does cuts into the skin. The recipe that I took this from didn't, so I'm going to do it on two of them and not on the other two. Oh, the strainer. The bowl's not really big enough, but it's bigger than the one I used last time. I'm learning. The oven is up to 160. So one of the reasons to parboil is that it creates um, this starchy, slimy. It helps to coat everything. This really isn't. This bowl really isn't big enough. I'm trying to remember what I did last time. Well, I used just thighs. Once I move, I will aspire to have big, big, big metal bowls that the chefies use. One. All right, let's slice this one. Yeah, I'm getting dirty chicken fingers on everything. My chicken finger. And two without slicing. Uh, well, keep in mind, it's hard to go wrong with how delicious it is. I think I'll take one at a time and put them in. It's supposed to kind of sit in the bowl for a while, but my bowl's not big enough. I'll put them on the tray I'm going to use. What's a tray called? I don't know. Baking sheet. 238 on the. Well, it should get preheated and stay that way for a little while. Um, what pan am I going to use? That one, yeah. And heavy duty foil, yeah. Or they use parchment. Why? I don't know. I have. Do we have parchment? Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like I'm a foil person. I already like I'm questioning if I can finish that beer. So it's either way. Which do you like better? Which barely works. Barely is the same thing as okay. One chicken breast marinated with this stuff. Garlic, lemon. Yeah, I think I just got to do them one at a time. Okay, next. Squeak, 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 squeak. Okay, well, the reason I'm not enjoying it is that I'm not chugging it. Mm, 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 mm. Oh, so the last time I made this on a stream, I mean, I feel bad now, but I was feeling really bad. Like I didn't have any medication yet. And I was like moaning the whole time. Two. So the potatoes really aren't doing the intended job of sort of turning the marinade into a slurry because my bowl's not gonna. What? Oh, I was supposed to remove half the marinade to add at the end. And now I can't do that because it's got raw chicken juice in it. So it all has to go in the cooker. That's the oven ready. And I used up all my parsley, so I don't have any extra to make a sauce. So let's hope that the extra double portion on the outside will pay off. Even though it didn't have time to marinate, and even though it's too big for the bowl, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about the good improvements this time from the other time. uh, more marinade, using the pieces that were recommended instead of, I mean, I don't know if that matters. Instead of, I used just thighs last time. These are called leg quarters, which I think are legs and thighs. They're certainly big enough to be. Or they're legs and some gross piece that I was suckered into buying. We'll see. See, if I didn't know anything, I'd be like, oh, I'll reserve the other half now. But I know something and I know not to do that. I could go buy more parsley while the meal is cooking. It goes in for, that would be like my third parsley purchase in as many days. You can see why, like, I have more than enough, but maybe I'll like this way of doing it. Maybe cooking it all. I mean, I know it won't be as bright without the fresh parsley going in at the end. And I guess he has a larger sheet pan than I do too, because this is really packed and his wasn't. I think the potatoes are going to be better this time. I think the squeaking of the so what happens is as it cooks, the chicken fat comes out and the potatoes, I mean, it's supposed to have a little bit more space, but the potatoes fry and the chicken fat in the pan. And also, it would be better if I had a convection oven. Next month, I'll be dog sitting somewhere that has a convection oven, so maybe I'll try this again. She probably has a huge pan and but I may not have the money. She pays me well, but she doesn't stock up food for me. So I'll probably just eat whatever's there. Uh, there's always leftover food from restaurants in their fridge. Smells great. What I mostly smell is garlic, which I adore. So I guess the parsley's gonna burn. I don't know what I've done wrong. Lots of things. Um, I forgot to add a little bit more salt. The kosher salt. Oh, I don't have my cooking board. They also put this recipe calls for putting a lemon in the oven and at the end of cooking that you pick it up with the tongs and squeeze out anything left. Okay, so here's my, oops, I forgot a lot of things. Parsley, lemon, garlic, chicken, and potatoes. This pan is heavy. Going into the center of a 400-degree oven for um, I'll check it in 20 minutes. It will probably take 30 to 40. The skin will get crispy. That part turns out great. The potatoes, because I don't have a convection and I've overloaded the pan again, they probably won't be crispy, but they'll be yummy potatoes. And I gooped up the sauce by not preserving half of it. Whoops. So I dream of moving to Mexico, but one thing that I'm less excited about is that due to its proximity and everything, Mexico is highly influenced by the US. A simple example, they use our plugs, which can be seen as convenient because I can take things from here, but our plugs are like the worst in the world. I mean, I haven't been everywhere, but our plugs are not good. Um, they have a lot of our flaws. And as we know from some people who move here, there are many Latin Americans who admire the U.S. You know, as a U.S. hater, that doesn't work out too good for me. I'm gonna dump this in the garbage chute. I'll miss the garbage chute when I move. But I won't miss the fear of running into my neighbors. So I'll check it at about 4, which is 15 minutes. I'm washing my hands, although mm, I should do other things like clean all those surfaces that touch chicken, including this and this, and maybe these things, I don't know, but I feel like shit. I don't like saying that. Why do I say that? Because it sounds aggressive. I don't give a shit. I feel bad. I feel like resting is what I feel. This, because I didn't have room on my surface, I moved this out of the way. If it had stayed up here, maybe I would have remembered to reserve half of the sauce. Well, that's the reason that you don't make it in the container that you eventually put the chicken in. Last time I made the sauce in the small container and then put half of it into the big bowl. And now I understand by doing that, I ensure that I keep half of it. The temperature's starting to go down. The sun has gone away. It's 3:45. This doesn't taste good. I'm no longer interested in it. I touched it while my hands were gross. I'm getting paranoid now. If I don't put my fingers in my mouth, what's the harm? Yeah, good point. Nevertheless, I'm washing my hands. Here's it's a difficult time because like the same thing happened last time. It's like I want to show you the finished results, but I feel so lousy. I I haven't been very entertaining so far, and I'm not gonna get any more entertaining. Thought about drawing. I think I'll sit and read some poems. With this massager on my back. This might help. Instead of just reading at random, I could talk about, oh, it's backwards. I could talk about my evolution. Oh, my back just cracked. No, I won't. Sorry. I'll read some Gertrude Stein. I like her. Maybe I'll stop and explain why I like her as I go. Yet dish 1. Put a sun in Sunday, Sunday. 11, please, 10 hoop, hoop. Cousin course, in soap. Cousin course, in soap, sew up, soap. Cousin course, in sew up, soap. Ali 2. Ali ender stow soul lightly. Not a bet beggar. Nearer a true set, jump hum. A lamp lander so seen or lip. 3. Never so round. A is a guess and a piece. A is a sweet scent sender. A is a kiss slow cheese. A is for age jet. What I like about Gertrude Stein is this is my escapism. Um, they're like tongue twisters. Words are fun. Language is fun. I like especially saying these out loud. It's escapism because you don't. It's like my abstract painting. You don't have to see a meaning in here, um, and your mind can wander. And whatever you think about, that's like what the poem is. um, Gosh, I could say that if people want to know what my art is about. Whatever you think about while looking at it is what the painting is about. So it can be about anything. It's more meaningful to me than uh, representational art. I I love I love being ignorant in the sense like I like to be exposed to many things, but I don't. But when you get educated, it can ruin your like naivety. Naivete is good, I think. Um, in terms of a pureness of enjoyment. At the very least, it's a different quality of enjoyment. Like I think about, I don't know anything about classical music. So when I go, it's just a pure sensory experience for me. And I had friends who uh, played orchestral, played in orchestras, and their experience at the same, you know, we could go to the same concert, and they would notice things like, oh, so and so messed up at this part, or they're thinking about music in a way that I've never thought about music because I've never learned the theory and history. I don't need to know the composers. I don't need to know what the piece was called, or it's why like um, sometimes people ruin it. If you've ever seen Fantasia, uh, some of the pieces are just abstract, go anywhere. And then some of the pieces, they're like, oh, Peter and the Wolf, we're going to tell the story. We're going to tell a story. I don't even know, actually. I probably haven't seen Fantasia since the 90s, so I'm not even sure if there's a story of Peter and the Wolf. But I've definitely read somewhere, and I think it was reviewing Fantasia, but maybe not. But I've definitely read, like, someone somewhere has said, oh, you Peter and the Wolf, you hear it and you see the story in your mind and and I think I don't. If you hadn't told me that, I never would have. And I prefer because I'm into abstraction. I think I watch plenty of stories with narratives. I watch plenty of like nonfiction explanations of things, the world, subject matter, and all that's great. Um, I derive a special benefit from, I'm trying to think if there's anything you can't see. There's like a random assortment of shells on the table in front of me. And normally when I talk I have a painting within arm's reach, but they're over there. Uh, if the director could just insert a painting, that'd be great. Sometimes I like to pretend that I have a support staff. If I did imagine, I imagine my work being different, like selling art or whatever. Like if people are into that, they could do it. Here's the plant. I don't know the name of it. And we probably all know someone who can look at things and give you the scientific name. And I'm not angry. I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying that's not me and it doesn't have to be me. I don't need it. I don't like it. Like for me, it's Planty 2 or no, wait, I gave it a name and I wrote it on it. Gift of Cindy. Oh, but I don't want to call it Cindy. I could call it Cindy's friend. I gave you a name, didn't I? Well, you just have to be Lil Planty for now. So I appreciate poetry. I'm picking specifically poetry that's not, well, let me pick a different one. Okay, I just thumbed something at random in the book. Your thoughts dreaming in a softened brain like a stuffed lackey on a greasy couch, I will tease with a blood-soaked scrap of heart and satiate my impudent caustic contempt. There is not a single gray hair in my soul. So actually, so here's someone telling a story, and I don't. Um, I like the fact that it's as out there as it is. I mean, it's almost as out there as Gertrude Stein's words. Um, Here, slightly different. T.S. Eliot. The winter evening settles down with smell of steaks in passageways, 6 o'clock, the burnt out ends of smoky days, and now a gusty shower wraps the grimy scraps of withered leaves about your feet, and newspapers from vacant lots. Uh, so that's a very specific place. And I mean, I don't hate it. I'm just saying that that is a different experience than than what I really like, which is Gertrude Stein lets my mind really um, wander. Here's one called Zone by Guillaume Apollinaire. You're tired of this old world at last. The flock of bridges is bleeding this morning, O shepherdess Eiffel Tower. You've had enough of living in the Greek and Roman past. Even, so that's great for someone who lives in Paris. This is like this new way I'm looking at poetry, which is take a little bit of it, move on, take a little bit more, stop on the ones that you like the most. Anecdote of the Prince of the Peacocks by Wallace Stevens. In the moonlight, I met Berserk. Berserk capitalized. I met Berserk in the moonlight on the bushy plain. Oh, sharp he was as the sleepless. And why are you red in this milky blue? I said. Why, sun colored as if awake in the midst of sleep? You that wander, so he said, on the bushy plain, forget so soon, but I set my traps in the midst of dreams. I knew from this that the blue ground was full of blocks and blocking steel. I knew the dread of the bushy plain and the beauty of the moonlight falling there, falling as sleep falls in the innocent air. So I enjoy those words, but I don't get that at all. And I suppose in a way it annoys me because I feel that they have a specific meaning in mind. And unlike Gertrude Stein, who is just whir, um, but here's the sun, that brave man, comes through boughs that lie in wait, that brave man. Green and gloomy eyes and dark forms of the grass, run away. The good stars, pale helms and spiky spurs, run away. So I don't like personify. There's more to it. I don't like personifying nature. Yeah, there's a lot I don't like. I'm a crabby dude. I just flipped and I was like, oh, I like this. It was Gertrude Stein. I think poetry serves many different purposes, obviously. So just like, I don't like hanging out with every person, I don't like every um, sitting in the world, I don't like every piece of art, I don't like every poem. They're not all for me. Some of them tell very specific stories, and I'm rarely in the mood to get that feels like being trapped and bogged down and oh, this one seems fun. Oh, it's Emily Dickinson. B, I'm expecting you. B, I'm expecting you was saying yesterday to somebody you know that you were due. The frogs got home last week, are settled and at work. Birds mostly back, the clover warm and thick. You'll get my letter by the 17th. Reply, or better be with me. Yours, Fly. So, okay, so that one, I said I don't like personifying nature. I enjoy that because use it doesn't gender. I cannot stand. This is just my personal thing, maybe as a gay man, but I just cannot stand the sun as a he and a ship is a she. She's a good ship. I just I loathe it. A nation as a she. I loathe it. I loathe it. I loathe it. Here's one. Now the title is Nantucket, so that's a specific place that I've never been that I have like rich people associations with. Oh, I need to check the chicken. Nantucket. But the poem doesn't say anything about it. Flowers through the window, lavender and yellow, changed by white curtains, smell of cleanliness, sunshine of late afternoon. On the glass tray, a glass pitcher, the tumbler turned down, by which a key is lying, and the immaculate white bed. So I really love that poem. That's just nice vague descriptions, object. Well, I mean, it's specific descriptions, but I'm vague in the sense that whatever you get out of it is what you get out of it. Let's go look at the food, see if I've burned it. No, I don't think that's possible. Gotta have my tea with me at all times. The last time I made it, I think, because I wasn't in the mood to talk, I put it looking into the oven. I mean, that doesn't look brown. Nope. Good God, it's got time. Good God. So last time I did just fives, and it was like brown at this point. Maybe it was not 400. Let's go higher. I just put 500. That crazy? Maybe. What I get for not checking a recipe. What will happen? What happens when you start low and finish high? I'm like, was it 500? Was it 475? Should I check the recipe? No, I think at this point we're just cooking. But it's probably going to take. Oh, how are we doing on battery? It's probably going to take. I'll check it in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'll change where I'm sitting. No, I won't. I want to use the massager. I was thinking I need to move to where I can see a clock, but oh well. But yeah, like when I describe the poetry that I like, I consider it, completely subjective. It's just my opinion. Um, I watch a lot of YouTube, and there's so many reviews that it's kind of the way people are trained to write essays or whatever, but like because it's like, oh, it's implied that it's your opinion, but people, I don't like this angle with other people's apartments. Um, but people, it's like an argument. That's the way people are trained to make arguments and say, this is this and this is why. And I don't know, some man came up with that idea. I think it's a lot, like when they teach conflict resolution and you are trained to say, I feel statements. I, I think that should be for everything. Who needs more conflict in this world? Why should there be conflict about which literature is good? More William Carlos Williams. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow glazed with rain water beside the white chickens. Sometimes, okay, that one was titled The Red Wheelbarrow. I don't think titles help. Sometimes I think, sometimes the title is part of a poem, but sometimes I feel like it's an accessory after the fact, like the way I give titles to my paintings, just because they have to have a title. Now, this one I think is part of the poem, so I'll start with it. I think it's just the first line. To a poor old woman munching a plum on the street, a paper bag of them in her hand. They taste good to her. They taste good to her. They taste good to her. You can see it by the way she gives herself to the one half sucked out in her hand, comforted, a solace of ripe plums seeming to fill the air. They taste good to her. The locust tree in flower among of green, stiff, old, bright, broken branch come, white, sweet, May, again. Wow, that was very Steinian. So between walls, the back wings of the hospital where nothing will grow lie cinders, in which shine the broken pieces of a green bottle. I've already forgotten when I wanted to check the thing. I think in about 2 more minutes. This is the famous one. This is just to say I have eaten the plums that were in the ice box and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. January morning. Sweet. 1. I have discovered that most of the beauties of travel are due to the strange hours we keep to see them. The domes of the Church of the Paulist Fathers in Weehawken against a smoky dawn. The heart stirred, as beautiful as St. Peter's approached after years of anticipation. 2. Though the operation was postponed, I saw the tall probationers in their tan uniforms hurrying to breakfast. Oh, this goes on a long, 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 long time. Let's check the chicken. But if you don't think you like poetry, if you want to try it, get yourself an anthology like this and thumb through it. And so, like, now I knew I liked Gertrude Stein, and now I know I like William Carlos Williams. And there was somebody else in there that I thought was pretty good. And these tastes have changed slightly from when I was in high school, and I thought I liked T.S. Eliot because I thought The Wasteland was cool. But now I'm like, eh. Yep. I mean, it's almost looks like there's no skin on it. That skin has to brown. Uh, maybe I pushed the wrong button. Maybe I've ruined it because of the temperature deal. Oh, that wasn't even that wasn't enough time. I wasn't going to check on it until 7 minutes from now. I was confusing the little hand and the big hand. I don't know if I can continue talking to y'all. I'll just be quiet until I show you the chicken. The um the oven just now reached 400. When I move, I'll keep things that friends made. Now it's starting to smell like food. The higher temperature is right. Moods can change. Like I can't. It's not just like, oh, I never liked this poet because he's telling a story that's a burden. Maybe it's depends on my mood. Like sometimes I can get into a complicated show, movie, whatever, and sometimes I want just background. Frank O'Hara, a true account of talking to the sun at Fire Island. The sun woke me this morning loud and clear, saying, "Hey, I've been trying to wake you up for 15 minutes. Don't be so rude. You are only the second poet I've ever chosen to speak to personally, so why aren't you more attentive? And earlier I said I didn't like personifying nature, and I'm kind of enjoying this. If I could burn you through the window, I would to wake you up. I can't hang around here all day. Sorry, son, I stayed up late last night talking to Hal. When I woke up Mayakovsky, he was a lot more prompt, the son said petulantly. Most people are up already, waiting to see if I'm going to put in an appearance. I tried to apologize. I missed you yesterday. That's better, he said. And here they are gingering the sun, and I'm not as annoyed. I don't know. There's something about it. This is jokey. It's personal. It's not like, oh, the grand sun, he shines. That annoys me. It's like this can be a he because it's just a character that Frank O'Hara is talking to, and I can't imagine Frank O'Hara having a normal conversation with a woman. That's better. It's just like me. I have a hard time like when I imagine writing and inventing characters. Usually, I think of all of them as men who are like me, and it's a stretch to try to write as someone else. The trick that I'm going to try is I'm just going to write. Uh, I mean, every character is not going to have the same personality, but I'm just going to write as if it were me, and some of them won't be you know, middle-aged white gay men. Some of them, well, I mean, most of my characters are going to be aliens, and so, but I just think like on the one hand, there's sensitivity where I would want to write, or I think stories should be told by others to represent their points of view. But if I'm writing, I think I think it's a mistake for me to write, oh, I'm going to write a woman now, or I'm going to write a person of color now, so I have to like be completely different because there's such a variety. There's not a type of person who's. I think it's just. I think I think I write the characters I want to write, and then they can have um, whatever characteristics they have. Eh, maybe it just works for my particular idea because so much of it is alien. Now this is getting less fun. Um, where did he say he was? Fire Island. That's better, he said. I didn't know you'd come out. You may be wondering why I've come so close. Yes. Oh, I'm getting mixed up who's what. Yes, I said, beginning to feel hot, wondering if maybe he wasn't burning me anyway. Frankly, I wanted to tell you I like your poetry. Okay, I like this poem a lot less now. I see a lot on my rounds, and you're okay. You may not be the greatest thing on earth, but you're different. Now, I've heard some say you're crazy, they being excessively calm themselves, to my mind. And other crazy poets think you're a boring reactionary. Not me. Just keep on like I do and pay no attention. Just keep on like I do and pay no attention. You'll find that people always will complain about the atmosphere, either too hot or too cold, too bright or too dark, days too short or too long. If you don't appear at all one day, they think you're lazy or dead. Just keep right on. I like it. And don't worry about your lineage, poetic or natural. The sun shines on the jungle, on the tundra, the sea, the ghetto. Wherever you were, I knew it and saw you moving. I was waiting for you to get to work. And now that you are making your own days, so to speak, even if no one reads you but me, you won't be depressed. Not everyone can look up, even at me. It hurts their eyes. Oh, son, I'm so grateful to you. Thanks. And remember, I'm watching. It's easier for me to speak to you out here. I don't have to slide down between buildings to get your ear. I know you love Manhattan, but you ought to look up more often. And always embrace things, people, earth, sky, stars, as I do, freely and with the appropriate sense of space. That is your inclination, known in the heavens, and you should follow it to hell, if necessary, which I doubt. Maybe we'll speak again in Africa, of which I too am specifically fond. Go back to sleep now, Frank, and I may leave a tiny poem in that brain of yours as my farewell. Son, don't go. I was awake at last. No, go I must. They're calling me. Who are they? Rising, he said, someday you'll know. They're calling to you too. Darkly he rose, and then I slept. You know, E for effort. Um, for a guy named Frank O'Hara who lived from 1926 to 1966, wow, that's a short life. Um, okay, kind of postmodern, but not for me. Not so much for me. It's a little bit too much from his point of view, you know? I even shine on the ghetto. I'm so with it and open minded because I wrote that poem. And then the next one says, "The day Lady died. It is 12:20 in New York, a Friday, 3 days after Bastille Day. Yes, it is 1959." So I'm like, oh, that's just way too much. See what the poets in Ghana are doing these days. I mean, maybe he's great, but it doesn't mean he's for me. I'm going to check it in about 5 or 10 minutes. I promised you I'd shut up. What I want to do is just read the poem with no commentary. Back to Gertrude. Never so round, A is a guess and a piece. A is a sweet scent sender. A is a kiss slow cheese. A is for aged jet. 4. New deck stairs. Little in den, little in dear den. 5. Polar pole, dust winder, core C. A bale, oh, a bale. 6. Extravagant, new, or noise peal extravagant. 7. S. A glass. Roll ups. 8. Powder in Wales. Powder in sails. Powder is all next to it is, does, wait, sack, rate all golds, like chain in clear. 9. Negligible old star. Poor even. It was a sad percent. Does on sun day. Watch or water. So soon a moon or a old heavy press. 10. Pearl cat, or pill, or poor check. New sit, or little. New sat, or little not a wad yet. Heavy toe, heavy sit on head. 11. X, X, X. Bull it, bull it, bull it, bull it. X, X, X. Just so you know, the word was EX. If it was the letter, I would have said it faster. XXX. That's just my choice. Someone has turned the letter X into excrement. 12. Cousin plates pour a Y shawl hood hair. No see eat. Also, by the way, I'll tell you that every time that she's used the word pour, it's Pour, not Poor. I suppose if she uses Poor in order to distinguish it, I might have to say poor. Who knows? Gertrude lived, oh my God, 1874 to 1946. Uh, I think it's safe to say that she pronounced some words differently than I do. 12. Cousin plates for a Y shawl hood hair. No see eat. By the way, I know I repeat. When I take a break and I come back, I repeat. But not this time. 13. They are getting bad left log lope. Should a court say stream, not a dare long beat a soon port. So I didn't like that one because I didn't like those sounds. 14. Colored will he, calamity, colored will he. Is it a soon? Is it a soon? Is it a soon? Soon. Is it a soon? Soon. Nobody's ice. Nobody's ice to be knuckles. Nobody's nut soon. Nobody's 7 picks. Picks soap stacks. 6 in set on 7 in 7 told to top. What a sexual one. That was 15. I forgot to give the title, if these are titles. 16. A spread chin shown. A set spread chin shown. Also, these numbers are in Roman numerals. Should I say XVII? That's 17 to you and me, or at least to me. No people so sat. Not an eider. Not either. Not either either. Or maybe she wanted me to say either since she wrote the word eider before it, Eider. No people so sat, not an eider, not either, not either either. 18. Neglect. Neglect use such a man. Neglect use such a man. Such some here. 19. Note tie a stem bone single pair so itching. 20. Little lane inlay in a circular crest. 21. Peace while toast. Paper 8 or paper 8 or white. There were 2 spellings of or in that sentence. The second one was the mining kind. 22. Coop pour. Never a single ham. Charlie, Charlie. 23. Neglect or A.B. Wade. Earnest care least ball sup. 24. Meal dread so or bounce, meal dread so or bounce 2 sails, meal dread so or bounce 2 sails, not a rice, no, nor a prey seat, not a little muscle, not a nor noble, not a coal right more than a song in every period of nails and pieces, places of places. Speaking of Mildred, my family's cook growing up was Mildred. Sometimes she's my other mother, sometimes she's my aunt, but she always was my family's cook. We just didn't hire her. It's complicated, but I think my mom, I think my mom was a bad friend. I think my mom mistreated this person or something. They could have been a lovely lesbian couple, but they both believed that was sinful. So they had crummy lives instead. Just my opinion. Check on chicken. Chicken, check on chicken. Mildred. Mildred? I see some brownness. That's better. See some brownness. Good. So, because I effed up the, yeah, it's gonna cook for at least another 5 or 10 minutes. Because I messed up the temp, it might be overcooked, but fortunately, because it's bone in, it's less likely to get dry. Mildred? I'm too tired. I was gonna move that, but I'm too tired. A Saturday is nice because if this were not a Saturday, it wouldn't be this quiet. There would be work going on, noisy work going on around me. When I eventually move, oh, whoever takes over will renovate and make lots of noise. Whoever takes over, whoever lives here next. My sister told me she doesn't want me to make rash decisions. Um, they can help, like financially, but I don't know if that extends as far as like $140,000. For $140,000, I don't have to make a decision about living here this year, or to transfer things into somebody else's name and let their credit be. Anyway, this is pretty. I know someone who wants this dish, so when I move, I guess she can have it. Oh, so I was talking about escapism earlier, um, and living a life that's based around searching for fun. This is just my observation, but I mean this is my opinion of of the way the white Americans I've known live. But I believe that there's an emptiness inside it. And I believe that that is labeled like existentialism, just this modern condition. I mean, you can fill it with, if you believe in a religion, then you've got, your underpinnings. Um, I think the various people who proclaim that God is dead, I believe that they're making an observation that the way people are living is not centered around God um, in the West, the white Christian countries. So I work to make humanism so that I can have a belief system that I'm not faking. I, one time I ripped up one and then glued it, but why? There's no reason. As a humanist, one of my top priorities is not harming others. And that's hard to do when born into a system that's based on, built around, established on the harm of others. So I think that with everything that I've said, I think that many people um, just, sort of philosophically believe, well, I can't have an effect on the big things. So I have to learn to enjoy the little things, like I enjoy just a color and a line in the meal I'm about to eat. And now here's this might be my version of Frank O'Hara talking to the sun. Dear self, you are, I want to say, doing so much better, but your current attitude sees past struggles as part of you. We are liking it more when we view our life experiences holistically. Holistic, whole, healing, health, these are the same etymologically. And that's the end of that. I know I should check on the chicken. I was kind of thinking I'll wait till it smells different. Oh, when that person checked, they flipped the potatoes. What I'm trying to say is too hard, but when I'm distracted. But I guess what I'm saying is I think that there's deep down in modern whiteness a fundamental belief in meaning that things are meaningless. And so the way to combat it is just to enjoy the moments when we can. And so that's how affluent people create a fun centered existence. Or maybe all people, because like you can see poor people actually having fun. But I think that the fun that they're having is based on, like, you see people, family connections and people keeping each other going. Why do I have a negative view? Like, if wealthy people do that, why do I think it's different than when poor people do that? Because I think the wealthy people have a power that they're denying. I think the wealthy people have the power to make the world better, and they're pretending that they're powerless and just, well, another day going to the job I hate and coming home and drinking and enjoying a glass of wine, and tomorrow will be the same. But this, I guess I'm just super harsh. But yeah, I think that I think there are people, and I've lived among them, who have the power to change the world. And I guess the reason I think that when I say, like, oh, there's escapism, I guess I think that these people know it. I think that people know that they bear a certain responsibility for the way things are. And to avoid thinking about it, um, they'll do anything, spend any amount of money to fight that nihilism that they are imposing upon themselves. Like, there's a joke, like, a man will spend any amount of money to avoid going to therapy, or a man will start a war, or a man will shoot up a building to avoid going to therapy. Um, it's an expression that's indicative of the extent that someone will go to, who has the power, will go to avoid looking at themselves, to change. There were other things I was going to say, but I've forgotten them. Now I'm starting to smell yummy. I thought that was a mistake. Oh shit. Sorry, Lens. Now that's starting to look and smell really, really, really good. Um, yeah. So the way I choose to live is to acknowledge that I want to do a lot of work to change, and I share my journey with others because I just believe that I have more responsibility than to just get by and have an okay life and die and say, well, I touched X number of people, I had a wife and kids or whatever. I think the conditions of the world are too dire, and I think the cause of the world's suffering, is the group that I come from. Uh, there are a lot of people. I mean, I don't feel depressed about that. I don't feel like it's not ruining my life. It's not, I was going to say, like, um, that, uh, kind of like the current people in power. There's a reaction against everything that I'm saying, this culpability, because I would be deemed to be delusional, um, or self hating. Um, I think I see things pretty clearly. I mean, my goal is to empower myself to see things as they are and to do as much as I can. I feel that to say, oh, there's nothing I can do, the world, that's disempowering. Others see it as realistic. I think I have a voice, I have an iPhone, I have internet access, I have a certain number of white people who listen to me, who have the power to make the world better if they try harder. I do believe that white people need to change in order to save the world. Is that radical? Is that reactionary? Um, like, okay, somebody might say, well, what about other people? You're putting everything on the backs of white people. I think white people bear most of the responsibility for the problems of the world. Yes, I do. And I don't speak to, I'm not from another group, so I don't speak to what others might need to do to change and help the world get better. But I think those that have the most, it's like with great power comes great responsibility. Those who have the most have to do the most. If you want me to explain why, I could go into history or, but I mean, the truth is, I mean, what I'm saying, I'm not about blaming. I don't care. I don't want anyone to feel guilty for what ancestors have done. I just want to get about making things better. I don't feel guilty. I talk about whiteness and white people and white males and cis males and whatever it is that I talk about without any shame. I'm who I am. I have my limitations based on what I know up to now. And what know up to now, I have limitations based on my experience, where I'm from, who I'm from, what I've been taught, where I've been taught. Um, I feel that facing things as they are is empowering. But yeah, I enjoy having fun, believe it or not. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm anti-fun because I hear that word used in a very particular way um, by white people I know, and it's like an absolution of all other uh, conditions. It was fun. You want to have fun. Like I said, I think it's escapism. Um, but I laugh a lot. Um, I love feeling a breeze. I love swimming. I love nature. I love nature when it's tamed. I mean, I'm not comfortable in the wild, but maybe I would be if I had someone guiding me. I'm not very strong. I enjoy reading. I enjoy music. I enjoy dancing in the right setting. I've danced here alone before. I'm going to go in the other room and send a text. I'm going to check my texts. One of the friends who invited me out, maybe I'll offer them food if they want it. Then again, how fast could they get here? I know I should have asked them earlier, but doot 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 doot. But I know what I was gonna get to. I feel like I feel like oh God, what's wrong with my fucking computer? I feel like should I touch the skin and listen to how crispy it is? I'll prepare. I think fun is fleeting and feeling good is lasting. Yeah, I want to feel good, and to me, that means like no denial, being as just open and truthful as possible. I think I can wait a little bit longer. Ugh, I am gonna put some dishes away when it's something I like to do when I'm feeling impatient. I'm going to breathe deeply. If anyone hears this, I hope that what I've said makes some sense. I guess I think I want my eyes to be open. I maybe another way I could say it is fun is for children. I want to feel good. So there was like some leg skin that didn't look brown, but maybe I don't know. Maybe it's never going to because of the position of the oven, or mm, maybe I should pull it out and look at it. Okay, I'll do that. Hold, please. I mean, every time I open it, heat escapes, but this is the part that I thought it doesn't look cooked. But like, it has to be cooked. I should have like turned it halfway through. How? I'm gonna check my messages. Oh, I'm getting 2 free degrees of heat. Mm, Okay, looks like I mean, this is what happens because I don't respond to people, so I shoo them away, and that's okay. That's my choice. Oh, I've got no room. Oh, I've just got so much that's dirty. Well, I went a little nuts, and is it okay if I just put this on the wood? This super hot? And I put it under the broiler, so everything is brown now. And I don't see why I can't just put this on the wood, but let's see if it did anything to the wood. No. Yeah, that's a lot of burned parsley. I messed up the. Oh well. But like, oh my gosh, all my tongs are dirty. What was I saying? But like, but like, but the original recipe would have had half this much parsley, and that would have turned black too. Squeeze the lemon. Guess I should decide which piece I'm eating. Is it? Oh, I thought that was the other lemon. Oh, here it is. Which piece am I gonna eat? I'll do this one. Since I cooked it longer, the potatoes are browner than they were last time, so maybe that's good. falling off the bone. This beer doesn't really interest me, but if it were white wine, I would enjoy that. So I didn't save sauce. The closest thing I can do is add a little bit of olive oil. And I already put lemon on it. It's really steamy, so I will wait. Since it's so hot, my bite should be small. Well, I still taste lemon. I'm not sure if I taste any parsley since I burned it all. I mean, it's delicious. I'll have to rewatch the original recipe again to figure out if his parsley burned. And what's the point of the parsley going into the oven? Maybe it's better to do a lemon garlic potato in the oven and just add the parsley and the lemon parsley garlic sauce at the end. The potatoes are a little crispy on the outside, and so I guess people would say creamy on the inside. I mean, it doesn't taste like cream, but it goes down like cream. The potatoes are excellent. And the chicken is excellent. Ooh. Despite the mistakes, I think this is better than the last time. I think I did the potatoes better, and I think I left it in longer, which is actually good. This is fun, but more importantly, it feels good. Thanks for joining me. If you're watching this, love. Whoops. Sorry. I'm not good at things. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my meal. I'll eat every bite. Bye. And then I'll have 3 more meals for later.